The former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has called the racism row surrounding the royal family normal and not remotely racist.
Yes, that's about discussing the colour of Archie's skin before he was born.
He said it's what every family does. Quite natural.
Yes, I think most of us would agree. The row reared its head in the wake of that new tell-all book, which apparently comes to print this week in the UK. The English version has made no mention of who said what. The Dutch version did.
Mysteriously pointed the finger at two particular senior royals.
Yes, it did. And then, of course, the author said, well, I didn't put them in there.
Yeah, and the translator said, well, I didn't put the names in there.
So what's all happened?
Well, the revelation of the accused royals made headlines right around the world. And, of course, the Dutch publishers had to pull their books off the shelves and pulp them.
Oh, let's talk to royal commentator Jennie Bond. Morning to you, Jennie. Look, as far as Boris Johnson getting involved in this, I don't know if that's helpful or not to the royal family, but he is speaking common sense, isn't he, when he says, well, if there was a conversation around what Archie was going to look like, that's just what any family does.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are singing to that same tune now. I think it's something perhaps that many of us were hesitant to express at the time. And I would add that context, I suppose, is everything. It is Meghan who said that there were conversations and concerns expressed. So her perception is that it wasn't maybe just human curiosity, it was a concern. But that's just the way she took these alleged remarks by whomsoever they were made. And also, I think that if Omid Scobie, who's the author of this book that started this whole thing up again, if he really has had access to letters between Meghan and King Charles, in which the king said that whoever made these remarks, there was no ill will or casual prejudice intended, then I think we would take him at his word. That is the case. It wasn't a concern, it was a human curiosity. I mean, I'm sure they must have said, I wonder if the child is going to have red hair. I mean,
yes.
Is that prejudicial?
Well, maybe it isn't to some generations and it is to others, particularly a young American woman who clearly finds that sort of concern very worrying. What do you think they're thinking, Harry and Meghan, back there in Montecito? Do you think they're aware of the absolute storm they've caused, or Omid Scobie has at least caused for them?
Oh, yes, I mean, they must be. They absolutely must have been told, even if they haven't seen it firsthand. But Harry actually, at least he used to, scour the social media and newspapers to see what they were saying, see if he could sue anyone else. I think it would be a very good move on their part to state clearly and unequivocally that they had absolutely nothing to do with this book, if that is the case. Because obviously, as long as they stay silent, we all think, well, you know, I mean, how could a letter between the king and Meghan Markle, how could that get into the public domain? So there are unanswered questions, and I think it's very helpful if they answer.
Yeah, well, I was saying this to someone yesterday, Jennie. That's the key problem. It would make a lot of sense for them to say all of that, but the likelihood is it wouldn't be true. I mean, where else has this information come from? So they've sort of boxed themselves into a corner, haven't they?
Well, it does look that way. But I think if they could distance themselves from this rather nasty, snide book, it would be a good move, because I don't really know why Omid Scobie has been so just, well, plain unpleasant about so many members of the royal family, particularly Catherine, Princess of Wales. I mean, what is the point of belittling her achievements, calling them small, saying that we'll go wow when she does anything and we don't with other members of the family? In my view, she has quite a tricky role in life, privileged one, of course, but quite a tricky one, and she is playing a blindingly good hand and making not small achievements, but great achievements, particularly in early years development. I think she's really brilliant on that, and he's just belittled her. Well, why?
Yeah, well, I think that's a very fair question. Jennie Bond, good to see you, as always. Thanks very much indeed.